Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and Shalom. I'm really glad that we somewhat figured out what happened last night. I think Alex did a pretty good job um, figuring out what went wrong. I still have some more questions though. But yeah, I mean, um, I don't know if you were there, Brenda or Jason. You can let me know that. I'll PM you. Um, but uh, I don't know if Stickum is going to be a good method. I mean, the problem here is that Stickum is really the only good method to do this, right? And if we keep having problems with the Stickum rooms, then this is going to get this might not potentially be able to work anymore. And that's kind of what I'm concerned about because there isn't any alternative to Stickum, you know. Um, the only other alternative that would be able to do, but it would be without video, would be Skype. And I don't think that's a viable alternative because we do need the live video. Um, I think it's good to be able to see each other. Um, So yeah, it's something that we're gonna have to think about. I don't think we should throw Stickum under the bus right now because it's only done this one time. But it is something that to be concerned about. And I know that sometimes, and this has happened to me, I've been using Stickum for 4.5 years, and I've never had this issue. Never. Um, I do know that um, sometimes you can go into a Stickum room and you'll get an error saying server timed out. And that means you've been kicked out of the room. And you can't get back in. There's no way to get in the room, right? You can keep trying to refresh and refresh and refresh and it won't let you in. Um, and that has happened to me. But then eventually, sometimes you can get back into the room. But see, that's not what happened last night. Last night I was able to get into the room, and the funny thing is when the administrator goes into the room, right? The administrator has to set the push to talk button. So even when I was in the room, the push to talk button wasn't there. So it was like nobody was there. Like there was no administrator of the board there. So yeah, uh, I really don't know what happened, but it needs to be worked out somehow. Anyway, last night we did the Haftorah, and it was Judges chapter 11, 1 through 33, and this is about Jephthah and the sort of the pact that Jephthah made with the Israelites, uh, saying, listen, uh, I'll fight the Ammonites if you make me, a king over you. Because initially Jephthah was sort of looked down upon because of his um, where he came from. His mother was a prostitute, and they actually drove Jephthah out. It says, and he never got a share of his father's property. Because it says here in verse 2, it said, "For you are the son of an outsider." Okay, so yes, he never got any property. So he wandered around and settled in a country, and he went out raiding with kind of low life kind of characters, and then eventually the Ammonites and Israel were at war, and the elders of Gilead, uh, who were, being attacked, said, "Listen, if you come be our chief and fight the Ammonites, um, you can come back and we'll accept you and you can be our chief." And Jephthah was like, "Listen, you're the people who rejected me. Why do you want me back now?" And Jephthah knew that it was because they were in trouble, so he said, "Okay." I'll do it. So basically, Jephthah sent some messengers to the Ammonites and said, "Listen, why have you come to make war on Israel?" And they say, "Well, you Israelites stole land from the Arnon to the Jabbok as far as the Jordan, and we want it back." And Jephthah said, "Listen, we didn't seize that land, the land of Moab or the land of the Ammonites." And he says, "This is the route we traveled when we left Egypt. We went through the Sea of Reeds, and then we went on to Kadesh." And then he sent some messengers to the king of Edom. Um, and Edom, saying, "Listen, we want to cut through your country." Edom said, "No way." So the Israelites camped on the other side of the Arnon, and they never entered Moabite land. So then they sent some messengers to the Amorites, to Sihon, who is the king, and they asked, "Can we cross through your country to get to our homeland?" And Sihon says, "No way." So they fought, and Israel beat the Amorites, and basically after that, it talks about the land that they gained, and Jephthah made a deal with God. Said, "Listen, if you deliver the Ammonites," and this is verse 30, "if you deliver the Ammonites into my hands," and then verse 31, "whatever comes out of the door of my house to meet me on my safe return from the Ammonites shall be the Lord's, and shall be offered by me as a burnt offering." So basically, that's a metaphor for Jephthah's first fruits, his choicest livestock, etc. So he's basically saying, "Listen, if you let me win this war, I will give you all of the best stuff of my household." And that's what happens. Jephthah beats the Ammonites, and they submit to the Israelites. So the relation that it has to the Torah portion of Chukkat that we read on Tuesday is that there's uh, the Israelites are asking for passage through different places to get to where they want to go, and they're being told no. Um, And the king brought up a good point that it was sort of about, uh, having your goals and having obstacles in the way, and that I think is a really good metaphor for it as well. Um, so it's basically we see a similar kind of thing. We see deals being made. We see deals with God being made. "Listen, if you give me a sign, or if you do, please do this for me, so I know," and that kind of thing. And again, we see just how much the Israelites wanted to go their route, and they even said in the Torah portion, they said, "Listen, we won't take any of your water. We won't let our animals drink from your streams or anything like that," because water was really precious, in that time. And the Moabites and the Edomites, they said no. They said, "No, we're not going to let you come through." So I mean, what other choice did they have really, except to fight? And maybe that's kind of another metaphor. Is sometimes you're going to be in a situation where um, you have an issue, and the other person just will not allow you to resolve it nicely, and it's going to be a nasty fight. Um, I know that last week in Shoal we talked about the sort of the undertones of the Torah portion prior to that, um, Korach, where he's arguing. Um, he wants a share of something. He is determined to make a problem with this, right? He wants um, these benefits of uh, the high priest. And in Shul, our one of our rabbis was like, this is kind of the lesson here, is sometimes nasty arguments are going to happen. And I think this takes it another step further. Not only are nasty arguments going to happen, but sometimes they're going to result in a really bad confrontation, and there's going to be a lot of pain and suffering on both sides. So with that, I will wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom, and I hope to talk to you all soon. I don't. King said something about, he left a message on the board, and I want you to clarify this with me, because you said something like, I might be late coming back, use the backup room. And I don't know what you're talking about. So if you could just like let me know, like what are the details of that? I have no idea what you're referring to. Um, and yeah, so just let me know what that means, and I'll talk to everyone soon. Shalom.